Relationship problems are not necessarily relationship problems, but we tag them problems because we don't know the root causes of why the problems are oozing up when we get into a relationship. Welcome to another episode of Love, Sex, Lies, and Reality Talks. Today I'm talking about why we do not have relationship problems. We all think that we have problems, but reality is that we don't have problems. What we label as problems are emotional pain and traumas that we've carried from childhood and we're trying to find answers to. And in the quest of finding answers, we look for people who can take the pain away when we hear words that are like frequencies that create triggers or lighting a bulb in our mind, and we think that that partner is the one. But on the long run, after the mask begin to fall off, after the solutions we're looking for don't seem to exist in that person, we say they have issues, and then we begin to label them as relationship problems. But the truth is, we have to take a deep dive into our own personal space to see why we're creating narratives, we're creating stories that are bringing us people that bring us a conscious awareness, and we're not willing to accept that conscious awakening moment that we truly need. Everybody we meet in life, like I've always shared with you, bring us a conscious awakening moment to areas of our lives that we are yet to tap into. And that includes buried emotional pain and trauma that we need to heal from. What happens is when this emotional pain and trauma that we may have carried from childhood begin to ooze to the surface, we start trying to go through this mind-boggling moments and create narratives and sometimes fantasies and illusions that don't necessarily bring us an answer, but create personas that we now project on other people who may also be going through the similar thing and trying to find answers on their own. And they're also creating narratives that lead them to meet people. And so when you come together, you meet someone on a date, or you meet someone through a friend, or you meet someone while out, what happens is when you start having conversations, a click happens when you talk about a trauma that you haven't healed from, especially when unhealthy, and that click creates a trauma bond, and you begin to create fantasies and illusions that this person is the one. Expectations that will never be met, that lead to disappointments, and disappointments are a blessing because they are life teachers that help us come back home to ourselves. So if you've gone through a relationship and you figured out at the beginning, this partner may be the one for me, but now you're thinking, oh, this person is not, because their attitude has changed and they become somebody you don't know based on the narratives you may have created. It is time to take a break from dating. It is time to take a break from a relationship. Just if you think this person is still somebody you want to work with and resolve issues with, take a pause in that relationship and begin to evaluate. Evaluate the childhood trauma that you have buried and may not have healed from. We all have them. We all have them because healing is a lifetime process. You don't heal from everything at once. We all still carry the societal, the generational, the individual that we created based on narratives and stories we tell ourselves, and the voices that we may hear from different frequencies when we're trying to think about what we're experiencing, but we don't have answers. So as you journal down every single relationship that you've been through, start looking for the emotional pain you may have acquired. And you have to do this being truthful to yourself, because if you're not true to yourself, you can't get through this. It's why you get a coach or you get a therapist to work with you to get to where you can get support to scale through a roadblock that you may have and you can't solve by yourself. And as you journal these things down, begin to look at how you've mirrored relationships from others in the quest of finding answers, how you've also mirrored from maybe movies or cartoons that you have watched about relationships, and how you have projected some of the narratives that you have created on a partner that you met where the relationship did not work out. And you may also need to do it for your workplace, because sometimes we carry this unrealistic expectations and narratives into the workplace, thinking that that place will be where we find answers. And as you do this work, you may end up with 10 sheets or 5 sheets of paper or even more. You may cry in between the journey. Understand that crying is part of the healing process. Let it all out. And what you find out also is at the end of a relationship, you become more vocal because the pain has oozed back up again. But without consciously gaining that awareness, the pain leads you to either act out than reason. I've written that quote in my book, Beyond the Pain. Think before you act, reason before you react or respond. So the inability to reason and process the emotions will make you act out. And sometimes it's mirroring other people that you see, that you think they're living a free will lifestyle, but you don't even know the emotional pain and trauma they also carry, and they're also acting out. So it is time to, before we get to the end of 2024, it is time to sit back and take a look at where you are and begin to examine, because if you're looking to be in a relationship in 2025, this is a good step for you to exercise and go through this process so that you're not going to repeat patterns and cycles in 2025. We don't want to carry trauma into 2025. We want to leave it behind. And the opportunity to heal from your trauma is opportunity for you to discover yourself. And the more you discover yourself, the more you see that some of the things that you're doing is part of reaction, not necessarily processing your thoughts or understanding your emotions, on understanding why you're doing things, because your nervous system has been broken down and you're just reacting. You're just going. Your body has kept so much score. I shared that quote with you yesterday on social media. Your body has kept so much score that it's just on autopilot. And so something happens and you just auto response and you're going without processing your thoughts, without evaluating the situation, without digging into the root cause and finding answers. And when we keep doing these things to ourselves, we can't blame the other person. The other person may also be going through a similar thing, which is why we trauma bond. And when you trauma bond, you end up trauma dumping. So the acting out is trauma dumping sometimes without knowing. And you become more vocal at the end of the relationship because it's trauma dumping. And so before you trauma dump or trauma bond, make sure that you're evaluating everything that you're going through. Like I said, from childhood, get a sheet of paper. On one side, write the names of the relationships that you remember. The more you write down, the more will come to your memory, and you will be able to release everything that you're holding on to that you may not be consciously aware of. And as you journal down, look at it from a childhood stage. What was the relationship with that person like? What emotional pain did you acquire from that relationship that may make you create narratives around the partner that you're looking for, and why you keep going and repeating patterns and cycles? And look at all the relationships you had from teenage years into adulthood. Do the same thing. And as you uncover answers, be open, be honest, be compassionate and kind to yourself to receive grace to hold on to the truth that you're uncovering. Because the truth is what is going to liberate you. It's not going to hold you back. It's going to liberate you if you accept it. And if you allow yourself to see that sometimes you are your own blessing blocker. And when you gain that awareness, trust me, there will be moments where you will cry. There will be moments where you will laugh. There will be moments where you look at it as, oh my God, I have been the one creating, tolerating, accepting, allowing things to happen. And it's okay, because you didn't know better then. Now you're getting a conscious awareness, and you're going to release all those. You're going to apply forgiveness to yourself and to others who didn't know better at that stage in your life, because every stage in our life is important. It's us being prepared for the next stage. But when we don't release the pain, we don't release the hurt, we don't release the emotions that have expired or feelings that have expired, then we allow things to continue to linger. We create narratives. We operate in different frequencies on autopilot and survival mode without realizing that we were created to thrive. And we weren't created for pain. We were created with love and to love and in love. And if you accept love as part of who you are, then you will be patient with yourself. You'll be kind to yourself. You'll be compassionate to yourself. You'll be truthful to yourself. You will trust yourself. You won't blame other people because you see other people as you see yourself in the space of love and light that you are. And then you're able to live better, not bitter. Remember to never stop loving while living. When you stop loving, you stop living. When you stop living, it means it's time to go back to the maker. But while you're still breathing, living, make sure that you are not creating relationship problems from trauma that you're bearing, but you're taking every time after a relationship has expired, because people come into our life for a season and a reason. When that season is over, make sure you're sitting with yourself, you're evaluating, you're discovering lessons from those experiences, you're applying the lessons to your life, you're eliminating the root causes, and making sure you're putting your puzzles together to create the bigger picture of who you truly are, and not taking the puzzles and handing them over to people to take away and now blame the people that came to bring you the awareness that you're losing yourself. Take good care. Talk soon. God bless. Bye-bye.